7 games, 7 wins for this Duke basketball team to open up the season. What a fun brotherhood run it was. A pair of victories for the Blue Devils this weekend.
Hi, everybody. Dick Vitale. Hey, make sure you listen, man, to Locked On Blue Devils with J.J. Jackson. He's awesome, baby.
You are Locked On Blue Devils, your daily podcast on the Duke Blue Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the Locked On Blue Devils podcast. My name is JJ Jackson. So great to have you here with us today on Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. Locked On Blue Devils is your one-stop shop where we discuss everything going on inside the life of Duke athletics. And on today's show, we've got our good pal Jordan Mann back with us today on the program to talk about a pair of Duke basketball victories from over the course of the weekend. We dive into the Duke football win over North Carolina as well. A lot of exciting things to talk about on today's show. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to follow and subscribe to Locked On Blue Devils for free, wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star rating and written review. Go ahead and watch us each and every day on YouTube as well. Like this video, share it with your friends. Your support means so much to us, and appreciate all of the everydayers for giving us some love here on the Locked On Podcast Network, proudly a part of Locked On, your team every day. All right, so here he is, J-Man, back with us once again. Long overdue for the return. Here we are, consecutive weeks. Don't let us get hot now, Jordan. It's good to see you again.
I'm glad to be back, JJ. As you can see, I'm still in my jail cell. The poster's coming up. It's going up, I promise. But, yeah, happy to be back. Not a 3-month hiatus this time. Look, Duke was 2-0 this weekend. I know we're going to talk about it. And then, obviously, Duke football, who still, talk about just range of emotions watching that team. But we will talk about that also. But I'm happy to be back on to talk about both Duke basketball and Duke football.
Yeah, man, it's always great to hear your perspective on things, to bounce ideas that I've had on this team back and forth. So similar to yesterday's show, I kind of want to go Friday's game and then the Sunday win for Duke basketball. And then at the end of the program, folks, we'll talk Duke football winning at UNC. So Saturday night, we saw Duke win by 58 points. Yes, that is accurate. A 58-point margin of victory for Duke over Niagara. 6 players in double figures. 4 guys had at least 3 3-pointers or more, and Duke finished with 17 3-point shots. Talk about offense, man. That's pretty good.
Yep. I mean, look, if Cayden Boozer is going to shoot 75% from 3, Nick Khamenia is going to make 4 threes off the bench, and Caleb Foster is going to make 75% of their threes, his threes, I'm going to go out on a limb, JJ, and say Duke's going to win national championship. Let me just break it down for you right there. Nick Khamenia, 4 threes in a game, and Cayden Boozer and Caleb Foster combined for 6 of 8. Yeah, Duke's cutting down the nets if they do that every game. It was just, for Niagara, you get paid to get beat by a billion. At least you have cool Instagram pictures to post. It's going to be a lot of likes of you playing in Cameron. That's what matters. If you're a player in Niagara, you got paid and you got cool pictures for girls to like, and that's all that matters for the boys. Ignore the score. You can Photoshop the score out of it. It's fine. Greg Paulus, welcome back. I'm sorry that had to happen to you. But, he was cool after the game, talking in the post game, talking about that. There's a lot of Duke versus Niagara basketball games that happen inside his house with his kids playing on their Nerf hoop. So that's really cool for him to talk about that and know that he's still part of the brotherhood. But Duke's offense, 100 points. Everybody scored, like you said, shot 58% from the field. And I know it's Niagara, but the key takeaway for this weekend for me, not to spoil if you're going to ask me that soon, but the key takeaway was Duke started fast in both games. Both Niagara and Howard never took the lead, like not 2-0, not 1-0. Duke led all 40 minutes, both games, and that was kind of like the point of emphasis for Shire to start faster, and Duke did this weekend.
I'm glad you pointed that out about the kind of emotion that we saw from Greg Paulus over the course of the weekend. I thought that was really special that, not only does he have this connection with Coach K, who was there for both games this weekend, sitting baseline with his granddaughters, the fact that Greg Paulus played for Coach K, and then here's a college teammate of his for 3 years that's now the head coach of Duke. He's getting back into the mix, and they're getting to go head-to-head against one another. And then the note that he talked about how special it was for his whole family to be there afterwards. His son was with him immediately at the handshake line at the end of the game, right? And talking about there have never really been Blue Devils versus Purple Eagles basketball games before, unless you grow up in Greg Paulus' household and you're his kids playing games on the Nerf hoop. Like, all the emotion we saw from him, man, that's what's really special, because basketball, you can't really take anything away from a 58-point victory.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. The key takeaway, like I said, or one of the key takeaways for me was Duke starting fast. And then I guess a guy that I wanted to have a point of emphasis on in Sleepers Media when I did the preview for both the games was Darren Harris. And look, Darren Harris, I know he was 1 of 6 in this game for 5 points, but I thought he played good. I thought he played good minutes. Of his 20 minutes, I liked that he was aggressive, shot 6 shots, 5 were threes. The shot's going to fall. It's too pretty of a shot not to fall. His number's going to be called when Duke needs some in this 3-game stretch they're about to get into. And I think Darren's going to be ready because of the minutes he played against Niagara and Howard. And so happy for Darren Harris that he get played 20 against Niagara. That shot's going to fall. And then the way he's aggressive to get to the cup and his defense has been pretty good. I thought he showed me something that he's like, hey, this could be a 10-minute per game guy in this 3-game stretch Duke's about to go into.
For every 1 for 5 game that Darren Harris has this season, there's an Army game where he goes 5 for 7, or a game where he knocks down a couple, because the guy is still shooting 40% from 3 on the year, which we'll take all the time with what he's able to do production-wise. And you're right, 7-0 is really impressive. This next 3-game stretch that Duke's got of Arkansas, Florida, and Michigan State to possibly get to 10-0 would be something else, and we'd really be highlighting the wins that Duke got. But again, we're getting too far ahead of ourselves. Let's continue to kind of recognize what happened on Friday night against Niagara. How about the most boring 14-5 game that you'll ever see out of Cayden Boozer, man?
Yeah, that is. I'm glad you said that, because I said that in our recap too. Like, a main takeaway for me was Duke scored 86 points. Cayden Boozer scored 14. Like that. This is something that is like. Yeah, it's good to see that. I know Isaiah was the guy against Texas when Cam couldn't get it going, and he led the team in scoring, and even Isaiah against Kansas when Cam was struggling to get it going from the field. So it's nice to see a no-sweat game where, Cayden Boozer doesn't need to do anything, and he had 14 points. And then Pat Ngongba might lead the country in points per minute. I just don't know. 17 points in 20 minutes, 10 of 11 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds. Having a big guy that can make free throws down the stretch for Duke is huge. It's huge to have your center be a guy that's probably your best free throw shooter. That's kind of unheard of, but he made his first 3 of the season, which is big because he can shoot it. But having 17 points and you make 3 field goals, that's a crazy efficiency.
And this is probably going to be the only game this season. Maybe not. Maybe there's the Lipscomb surprise that's coming here in mid-December. But it didn't happen on Sunday against Howard. But Friday night against the Purple Eagles, every Duke player scored that played, and all of them played except Sebastian Wilkins, who's redshirting this season. So that was cool to see, man, that everybody got a chance to get into the stat sheet, and not just free throws or anything like that you see when guys are fouled late in the game. Like, everyone went out and made a bucket.
Yeah, that's a good point. Every single player made a bucket, and Jack Scott might be the best 3-point shooter walk-on in the country.
He's got a good stroke, man.
100%. He might be a cousin of Nathan Scott from One Tree Hill. Who knows? But he comes out there and he's hitting 100% from 3 in his 2 performances, and he got 4 boards. He's out there. He is Nathan Scott from One Tree Hill playing at Duke. Who would have thought that Jack Scott and Nathan Scott were the same person?
The show's been going on for nearly 4 or 5 years at this point. And for the first time ever, One Tree Hill has been referenced. I never thought that would happen, and yet that's why I've got to get you back on here. That is remarkable. Shout out Nathan Scott. We need what is it? Is it Lucas? We need a
Lucas. Lucas.
We'll have to find who the Lucas is of the world. So, and Mouth, the play-by-play announcer.
Yeah, you're Mouth.
I'm Mouth. So yeah. Yeah. Dude, let's take a break, man. Big win for the Blue Devils. We need to regroup. J-Man's the absolute best. We'll talk about that win over Howard when Locked On Blue Devils continues in a moment. Locked On Blue Devils here today is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Hey guys, the NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA and a proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. All right, let's keep the show rolling. J-Man's here with me talking Duke. All right, bro. So Howard, let's go to the Howard game. 93-56, the final score. There were not 6 players in double figures in this one. There were not 17 made three-pointers in a game like this. But how about 12 dunks, man? My goodness. It was crazy. And I know you were there courtside for the action. Felt like a couple of times the rim was going to be torn off with how aggressive Duke was around the rim in this one.
Yeah, I mean, Isaiah had 3 dunks. His third one was all 3 were impressive. His third one was very impressive. He has some sneaky bounces disrespectful to him. He has bounce. If you try and go up with Slim and thinking like he's a scrawny wing, you're going to get punched on. And he goes up hard, he goes up strong, and he punches it. And look, again, this game, Duke's up 52-18 at halftime, and it just
silly.
It was, I mean, my God, it was just, you could watch One Tree Hill if you wanted to at halftime. But Cayden Boozer had 26 on 10 of 12 and a double-double. Don't even think he broke a sweat. 4 assists. Him and then Cayden had 6 assists off the bench. But the thing with Cayden that I would talk about, I think plus minus, he was plus 10, which is, not great in a 40-point win, but
sure.
He offensively, what Cayden does is awesome. Like, he's aggressive. The way he pushes tempo after a made basket where he can get quick assists or get quick buckets is great. Howard liked their matchup with him on their offensive end, and there was a few times where Howard went one-on-one with Cayden and got by him and had layups and stuff. And then Duke fouled a little too much in the second half. Shire talked about that in postgame. They wasn't happy with the amount of fouls Duke had in the second half. Just felt like they were playing he didn't say they were playing lazy, but I know what he was saying, knowing what he was meaning with being frustrated with their effort. I mean, they outscored Howard 52-18 in the first half, 41-38 in the second. So he credited Howard to playing to the final whistle, that they never stopped playing hard, and he just wasn't happy. His guys kind of probably let the foot off the gas. So Howard, look, that's a nice screenshot to have. Second half, 41-38 against Duke. Right. Again, cool for Blakeney, taking a picture with his daughter and Coach K and Shire before the game. And he talked about the post game that he watched the first half of the women's soccer game before the game. Like, he wasn't even in the locker room. He was just walking around Duke's campus. He just didn't want to be stuck in the locker room. He walked around like East Campus or something. He went and watched the first half of Duke, Kansas soccer, and then walked into Cameron. And that's really cool for him. I know it's a lot of emotions. It's just a very funny visual if you're at the soccer game, like, wait, is that Howard's head coach? Don't they tip off in 90 minutes?
Yeah, big win for Duke women's soccer, by the way, over Kansas 2-1. Now they're going to the NCAA quarterfinals. They'll play the Washington Huskies. So we can give people updates on that. Shout out to Kenny Blakeney for wanting to be tuned in with what was happening on that sport. That's a good tidbit from this game. I was going to say, you mentioned kind of a lot of fouls and whatnot in the second half in particular. First time all season, Duke was kind of beat at the free throw line in regards to percentage and what it looked like at the end of it. Howard really got back into the game, despite Bryce Harris's best efforts to open up the second half. I've never seen a fouling sequence like that with 3 quick fouls, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, I said after the Niagara game, or the recap, that Pat Ngongba points per minute. He had 16 points in 17 minutes in this game, and he forced 3 straight fouls in 19 seconds by Bryce Harris. And Harris like, I can't do anything. It reminded me of stay with me here, the people that are watching this. The Taco Fall when he was in high school, and there's that big boy that was like 5'7" guarding him. And he's just like this. He's like, how do I guard him? He's just like looking at the referee, like, help. How do I guard him? That's what Bryce Harris looked like trying to guard Ngongba, try and front him. He's like, whoa, you're 6'11".
At some point, just step away. Just let him go.
I mean, the refs randomly calling fouls in the second half the way they did. There was 9 fouls in the first 4 minutes. I'm like, hello, it's 52-18 at halftime.
That was certainly a choice.
What are we doing calling hand checks here? But I'll get this back on the tracks, I promise. I really like Isaiah in the game too, with the dunks like I alluded to, but he had 2 assists, and I tweeted it on Monday that Isaiah last 3 games he has 8 assists to 0 turnovers in the last 3 games. And him just not turning the ball over, being a playmaker, if you will, in the offense. I know that's not a lot of assists over 3 games, but when you have 8 assists to 0 turnovers, you're making the right reads, and people view you as a scoring guy only. It's a well-rounded performance by Isaiah Evans.
What was your favorite dunk from this game? I mentioned 12 of them, and you have one?
Jack Scott didn't get a dunk, so that's eliminated. I would say Isaiah's last one, his 3rd dunk.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're going to be different here. I can't believe Dame Sarr, after, he missed the 3-pointer in the corner, Ngongba got the rebound, nearly stepped out of bounds, threw it to the top, and Sarr pump faked on it. I mean, I felt like he jumped from the 3-point line, and that's the athletic Dame Sarr I want to see a ton of, man. That play was crazy. That was a crazy dunk.
Yeah, Dame, he has a lot of potential. He has a lot of potential. He showed it in that play, and then he had a rough stretch late in the second half where I think all 3 of his turnovers basically happened. I think he got a couple bad fouls. It was basically like 4 or 5 possessions in a row, like from offense to defense, where Dame was the one that was making the mistake. And I was watching Shire in the coach's box. I mean, he was standing up, and it looked like Duke. You would have thought Duke was down, like legit 41-38 in the second half to Howard, or only up 3 against Howard, the way he was coaching in that moment. But Dame shows like the potential is there with him, the freak athleticism, his defense. I mean, he had 6 points, he had 8 rebounds, and he didn't have a steal this game, but my God, he averages like 2 steals a game. So he's just everywhere, and his offense potential is going to happen as the season progresses.
All right, and then where are we at with Nick Khamenia? We mentioned the 12 points that he had against Niagara yesterday against Howard for Khamenia. 7 points on 3 of 4 shooting, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, doing a little bit of everything.
Yes, and I thought you were going to say the turnover there too, JJ. He had 5 turnovers, but I don't remember. I have to watch this. I'm going to be discussing and watch this film. This will not be a film breakdown, so I'm sorry to ruin that for anybody that wanted a Duke Howard film breakdown.
Right.
But I got to see those 5 turnovers. I swear maybe like 2 of those were thrown to him in the stat line, but weren't his fault. Because I don't remember him turning the ball over that many times.
I don't either. Yeah.
Turnovers. So
that's why I didn't say it. I mean, that really would have jumped off.
This is a pro Duke.
Yeah.
So of course you're not going to say the turnovers, JJ. If you want to listen to the negative, you listen to Big J, Little J show.
Yeah.
Where I can get as negative as I want. But Nick Khamenia having 5 turnovers, yeah, I think that's not right. But I thought he played well. To answer your question, make a long answer longer. I thought he played well. Another all-around game, 20 minutes, 7 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. I like that from Nick Khamenia.
Okay, so now it's Arkansas. It's Thanksgiving night, and then we mentioned this big stretch coming up. Arkansas at home against Florida at Michigan State. This is crazy, but this is, what Duke wants to do. They want to test themselves before they get set up for conference play and for any big postseason run. Right now, Duke is still the number 1 team in the KenPom analytics. Cayden Boozer is still on every analytics chart, the player of the year so far. 7 games into the season. So big test against Arkansas, though. And that is say what you want about Coach Calipari and how his teams have been over the last decade. There's talent on every single roster, and that's certainly been the case. That Malik Thomas is averaging 19. Darius Acuff is an impressive freshman. DJ Wagner is still in college doing his thing. What are you thinking going into this one?
They like to play fast. They're really good in transition. That's something Duke struggled with against Kansas. So that's going to be a point of emphasis from the coaching staff. It's like, hey, you got to slow these dudes down and make them play half court because they're athletic. They're really unselfish with the ball. A lot of guys average like 4 assists, which is they're spreading the pill around. And so that is like the key for me right now. I still am diving into them right now as we record, but that is the one thing that stands out to me is how quick they like to get up and down in transition. I think it's 172 of their 547 points have all been scored in transition. So they're trying to get downhill and trying to score quick. 15th fastest team in the country. And also Evan Maya has his player rankings out and has Cayden Boozer 1. I can't remember who number 2 is right now, but
Braden Smith. Yeah.
Braden Smith. And number 3 is Pat Ngongba. So Duke having the top 3, 2 of the top 3 best players in the country right now via the player rankings for Evan Maya is crazy because, again, Pat's been awesome on offense. This is a good challenge with him with Nick Pringle down low that I will discuss as the week goes along.
It's going to be exciting. Sunday night, or not Sunday night. It's a Thursday night, Thanksgiving night. We'll feast, and then we'll enjoy a little Duke basketball as they take on Arkansas in Chicago. So you're planning to feast, right?
I plan to sleep, JJ. I'm gonna feast. I'm gonna be like the Grinch, except it's just for Thanksgiving. I'm gonna feast, sleep, and then wake up and try and watch some Duke basketball
and see what's up with Duke. I love it. All right, we'll step aside one final break here on the program today, and then we've got to dive into Duke football. What a win it was for Duke football over North Carolina. Let's get to that here in a moment. Thank you so much for making Locked On Blue Devils your first listen and your first watch here today. For your second listen, make sure that you go check out Locked On ACC. Kenton Gibbs and Alex Dono break down the most interesting conference in college sports, from the rivalries to the championships and every game in between. Find Locked On ACC on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, check out Locked On College Basketball with Andy Patton and Isaac Shade. Those guys do everything possible to keep you up to date on what's going on in the world of college hoops. So check it all out on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now, the number 1 sports podcasting network in the world. Let's get back to the show. Okay, my guy Jordan Mann's here with us. We're talking Duke football and a big win for the Blue Devils in Chapel Hill over the North Carolina Tar Heels, 32-25, the final score. And J-Man, just open-ended to you, pal. It's the victory bell is staying in the right shade of blue.
Yeah, look, when the going gets tough, what do fans do? They pray. They pray for their team to win. And you know what? I had to. You know who I had to pray to? Sister Jean. I had to get my sister Jean out, and I was like, hey, please, sister, just one time can this defense get off the field on 3rd down. And you know what? They, by the grace of Jean, by the grace of Sister Jean herself, they did. And then the Todd Pelino, she just surprised me with the fake with Todd Pelino. I didn't ask for that. I just wanted to make a field goal, and she blessed me with Todd Pelino turning into a Heisman candidate with the ball in his hands, and he gets down to 1.
To have a Sister Jean bobblehead ready, that's why people need to be watching us on YouTube. Shout out to all the everydayers there, but that's impressive work on your part, man.
I mean, look, this show has ads. It's great time for me to look around my room, see what I can find.
It might be a jail cell. There might not be any posters behind the wall, but we're praying to Sister Jean and things are happening.
I pay off the guards, and with that, they give me a Sister Jean bobblehead over here in my correctional facility.
And they bring you One Tree Hill on DVD to stay up to date.
I know I have a Nathan Scott jersey in my closet somewhere. 10 years ago, I was in a bad place mentally. So I have a Nathan Scott jersey in here.
Oh, man. But, hey, the fake, dude, for Todd, and just hearing him talk about it afterwards, about, like, he was – it was really funny hearing him recall his interactions with Cade Reynolds and the holder about not wanting to give away too much. And he said, I probably overdid it. I was in my head a little bit too much. And we're going to show some photos on the screen from the athlete that Todd Pelino is. Just the run into the end zone, or towards the end zone, I should say here. Incredible.
Yeah, dude, I wish that had been a touchdown. He deserved that. And good for Todd. He's had, up and down year kicking, and for him to have this moment his senior year against his rival UNC. I mean, look at him. He's so close to the end zone.
Starting to take the hit, man.
starting to take the hit. And underrated part of this is the guy that does the hit right here, Cade Reynolds, just starts chirping him as he's running to go celebrate with Todd Pelino. If you watch the replay, Cade Reynolds turns down and he just gives him just some trash talk, and then he goes to Todd, and which is great. But just a play that I did not expect. Obviously, neither did Carolina, but just one that Duke fans will forever think about when they talk about Duke Carolina.
Did you know how much Anderson Castle apparently doesn't like the opponents in the state of North Carolina? Like, that was good. 3 touchdowns against NC State earlier this season. An Appalachian native from Boone, played at Appalachian State. Now he's over playing here for Duke, and he adds 3 more touchdowns to the Tar Heels. This guy's pro-Duke, wants Duke to continue to dominate the state. He's Mr. North Carolina.
Yeah, I like that. I'm glad he had a big game, and I can't believe Duke forgot about him on 4th and 1 and the 3rd and 2 before the 4th and 1 when they ran the trick play with Queso. Feel bad for Queso. It was a one-read option to Mensah that was covered, but you have the guy that's your short yardage back, had 3 touchdowns in the game. You're like, where's Anderson Castle? Oh, he's at the concession stand. You're like, what do you mean, where's Anderson Castle? I'm happy for Anderson Castle, though. 3 touchdowns his last time playing Carolina, because when he was at App, they had crazy barn burners where App should have won those games and just didn't win. And he did his part in the rivalry or in those games. And now he's going to be etched in the rivalry history with 3 rushing touchdowns in Kenan Stadium.
Where are you at with Mr. Mensah? Because what's crazy is that last week, he throws for 216 yards against UVA. It was his lowest total of the season. We've already talked about, the just ugliness of being down 31-3 heading into the 4th quarter. He goes out against North Carolina. Duke gets the win, but just 175 yards passing for Darren Mensah, only 1 touchdown.
Yeah, it looked like Duke really liked what they saw on film. It looked like with the run game. I mean, Nate Shepard had so many carries. Anderson Castle, I don't have the box score in front of me, but Anderson Castle, obviously, his 3 rushing touchdowns.
At 13 carries, yeah.
Yeah, and they liked what they saw the matchup wise in the box. And look, it worked. At the end of the day, they scored 32 points. It was 32-25. And they covered for me. I had them 6.5, not to brag. That 2-point conversion. Darren Mensah, that 2-point conversion.
That was a good toss. Yeah.
Oh my God. It was 25 yards laterally. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, look at that beautiful spiral. And thank you, Darren Mensah, for converting that 2-point conversion. But this game was not like the UVA game for his performance in my eyes, because Duke's game plan was like, hey, we're going to run the ball. And they did very well, and they controlled clock because Duke does not want that defense on the field. As they want them on the field for at least amount of time as possible, and it showed with them going for it on 4th and 1, though the trick play happened with Queso and then faking the field goal with Todd Pelino. They clearly trying to limit the possessions, and they did a good job doing that. It was a very well executed time possessions for the most part. Just that defense, JJ. I get to hear it this Saturday with Mo Bamba, 3rd down. Yeah. There's a first down, Wake Forest. 3rd down, first down, Wake Forest. But 6-5, we're bowl eligible.
Yes, we are, and maybe you just switch up the Mo Bamba vibes for Duke going into this one. So we'll save this upcoming week for later because it's crazy that there's 6-way tie scenarios that are possible. There's Duke in the ACC title game, which is insane to think about that. But we'll save that for later in the week. And I know that you'll have several thoughts on that on the Big J and Little J show there. Any parting shots towards Mr. Bill Belichick, the Jordan Hudson dynamic, all of the unsportsmanlike penalties that North Carolina had at the end of it? You mentioned the 2-point conversion. They're trying to take out Nate Shepard. I mean, it was just – any parting shots for those friends of ours in Chapel Hill?
The parting shots to me is I want Bill Belichick to stand in front of a microphone and list off how many players he knows that's on his team. I bet he can't under 2.5 players. I bet you he can't name, and one's Max Johnson because he knows Brad Johnson. Besides that, I don't think he knows Gio Lopez. He might call him George Lopez for all I know. He doesn't know his team. There's no way. He just knows them by their numbers. Under 2.5 players he knows on that roster. That is my parting shot. He has no relationship with this team.
And now Jordan Hudson's starting to talk a little bit, man. I mean, she's starting to put things out online. Last
thing, her having this adult cheerleading team, like I didn't know they even existed. And that they have to have something in Charlotte. And I'm pulling up because I need to watch this. I mean, it's in front of 16 people, I'm sure. and
And Bill Belichick's one of them.
Yeah, and me. I'm going to be right beside Bill Belichick.
You're the best. Where can people find your work, dude?
J-Man's Takes, Twitter. I'm going blank here. Lightheaded. YouTube, J-Man _ film breakdowns coming for the scouting report for Duke, Arkansas, and then Big J, Little J show, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and Sleepers Media everywhere. Just look up J-Man at this point. You might find me. Who knows? There's
a crazy Duke FB fans accounts that's in there, and one's been taken away. I mean, there's just the whole story of Jordan Mann really is absolutely special. Brother, we gave the everydayer several quotes and funny moments. So thank you for your time. Happy Thanksgiving, my friend. Enjoy the week, okay?
Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours too, JJ.
All right, that's Jordan Mann joining us here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils. I love that guy. I want him on Locked On Blue Devils all the time. That's great stuff. Big wins for Duke. A big win in football on Saturday over North Carolina. We're going to be back tomorrow talking about everything you need to know for this Duke game coming up against Arkansas. I hope that everyone is enjoying the Thanksgiving week. Safe travels to see friends and family throughout the course of the week. Be sure to subscribe to us wherever it is that you get your podcast. Leave us a 5-star rating and written review, and subscribe to us on YouTube. As always, go Duke. I'll talk to you tomorrow. My name is JJ Jackson. Thank you and good day.